Right, should we talk about Britain's Got Talent, or Britain's lack of talent, Sarah? Now, some people say, why does it matter? Why does it matter? I think it does matter.
Yeah.
Because how can we have Britain's Got Talent? A British girl did win.
Yes.
This weekend.
Christmas, her name is.
Yes, Sydnie Christmas.
Sydnie Christmas.
She's a singer.
Yeah.
I'm guessing she's going to have a Christmas single out.
She's a cruise ship singer, and she works in a gym.
First woman to win in 9 years.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch it anymore.
But some people clearly do. But apparently 5 of the last in the final were not British born or even live here.
Outrageous.
I know. And so why call it Britain's Got Talent?
I know.
It's bizarre, isn't it? I always think of Britain's Got Talent. I always think of those...
Eccentrics.
Do you remember that brilliant father and son
yes.
team?
The Turkish, or were they Greek or something?
Turkish or Greek. And they did
brilliant.
a sort of hilarious dance.
The dad with the big fat tummy.
Yes, exactly. So I always think of it as a kind of competition for sort of enthusiastic amateurs.
Yeah, eccentric.
And it's turned into a sort of... it's not that. I mean, because I'm sure she's very good, this girl, but she does already have a career in music. So it's not as though it's it's not normal people basically having a go.
Me and thinking, let's see what we can do.
Exactly. And I always thought it was just ordinary people having a go. I want sort of, and that was the joy of it, was that people came on and they were completely out of tune. But now it's much slicker.
It sums up as well this difference between the British public and most people on the telly.
Yeah.
Because the judges do not notice this lack of British involvement or at least if they do notice it, they're not saying anything about it. But the viewers notice the imbalance, and just 4 of the foreign acts made it through to the final in the end. Possibly too many. There were none at all for the first 6 series. There were no non-British people in the final.
Be any.
But it does seem
And if they
trite.
don't live in Britain either. But, I mean, if you live in South Korea and work in South Korea, why are you in Britain's Got Talent?
Well, I suppose, if you're doing a show that's you've got to have certain parameters.
It's because they won Simon Cowell's show in South Korea, so they can come over here. It's all part of the
I do
marketing,
think the whole thing is just a bit of a thing for Simon Cowell to...
Of course it is.
But it is, but there was a massive protest in London. There was loads of protests in London on the weekend.
Always
are.
And there was a patriotic protest in London on Saturdays. It was described. There was hundreds of thousands of people there. There were Students Against Tyranny were there. There was Tommy Robinson was there, much maligned, divisive figure. But these people would say, we are feeling the need to walk on the streets of this country because we no longer feel we can assert our British identity. And that's the distinction between the people who are running a programme like Britain's Got Talent, the judges who are sat there, no one's mentioning the elephant in the room, and then there are people having to go out and protest to say, can we sing Rule Britannia and wave a flag?
Well, what would have happened if somebody who wasn't British who lived in South Korea won it? That would cause quite a stink.
I think they have in the past. Have they always been won by Britain? But the two issues are connected, Sarah.
Well, I mean, I think there's a difference between patriotism and xenophobia, right? So the two they're kind of the same, the different sides of the same coin. And I think patriotism is great, and people like to feel a sense of identity. They feel a sense of belonging. They understand what their flag is for, and they kind of British values, which we all adhere to. And then there's xenophobia, which is sort of we hate anyone who's not British. So I think I think that march that we saw at the weekend was actually quite patriotic. I don't think it was xenophobic at all. I think it was a nice sort of. They all seemed very kind of peaceful, and there wasn't any horrible rhetoric or anything like that. Certainly much less horrible rhetoric than we're used to seeing from the pro-Palestinian marches. I think Britain's Got Talent. I think it's a silly thing. If you're going to call it Britain's Got Talent, you've got to just you've got to say that's the list. These are the list of things that you have to have in order to qualify to enter, and one of them is that you have to be British.